We're talking today about paying attention to your thoughts, and this is a very important video. I'm also giving you a tool that I share with my clients. We use this when we begin our work together. The vast majority of humanity is constantly consumed with information coming at us, and a lot of that turns into stress. And what's worse is that we also can take on the energy of other people around us, as well as the external world chaoses that are always going on. What we often don't think about is how much those external emotional and mental stresses impact our physical body, and then that continues the cycle of stress. It's a perpetual one. I help people make this connection between their emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual selves, and it brings them into alignment with their healing, their recovery, and thriving in their life so they can make the impact that they want to make. When I work with someone, I do use a little medical intuition and many years of wisdom that kind of flow through. However, what I'm really here to help you with is how to use your own. There is a small percentage of people that will go into this next week or month or year ahead with a new identity and story that changes their life out of the old patterns of the past and into a new way of being. There's a small percentage because not everyone will take what I'm about to say in this video to heart and mind. If you are watching this and you take this information in, that means that you are committed to this new version of yourself. Not because there's something super special about it, but because not everyone is willing and open to doing this work. Not everyone is willing and open to looking at their thoughts. And it's okay. If it's not for you or not for that other person that you really want to have this information, it doesn't mean that those folks are wrong or that you are right or anything like that. I have found that doing this work around your thinking is really more about the timing. We are all on our own journey of divine timing, and we will find it at the perfect time for us. So this isn't about one person being ahead of another person. That's not how it works. I've been doing this work on myself, personal development work, for over 25 years at this point. And every single time I dive in deeper, I learn something new. There's no one who's further along than the other person. However, if you have been working on yourself for many, many years, and you can start feeling this shift, this new way of being in this world, that we are the bridge builders. We are here to create a new world. And if you are one of those people and you want the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, even years beyond our lives, maybe for the generations that are following us, if you want those to be different, if that is you, let's get ahead of the curve and take these next steps. Let me give you some context to this simple but very powerful teaching. So the only time we're not okay is if we're in the past or the future. That means that we are worrying or we are blaming, or mostly we are living in some fantasy land of what we think is going to happen or some interpretation of what we believed happened in the past. We're replaying the story. We're wishing, we're hoping, we're stressing. And this time in our lives is the time to accept reality, even if we don't like it. It's not easy to do this at times because what it feels like mostly is looking at all of the feelings that we've suppressed or pushed down or numb out. And it can also feel quite overwhelming to do this work on accepting reality, because what's most important in those moments is that you trust. That you trust, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm supposed to be. And when you learn to have that trust, this is where the work begins, especially in your nervous system. Your nervous system is holding on to a core need, and that need is of safety. It means that your mind and your body are often at war with each other when you're not feeling safe. One part of you doesn't trust, and the other part of you doesn't feel safe. And so it's like you're working against yourself. Which part of you is going to lead you? If your body doesn't feel safe, and your mind and soul are not trusting. So what we do is we begin this work with observing our thoughts. So many of us are in pain in our body, or we've been dealing with health issues or medical issues for so long, and our body in our nervous system, whether you know it or not, it doesn't feel safe when it's in that state. And so that therefore our mind is like, well, I'm not trusting this process. I don't want to be in pain. I'm not where I need to be. Or I want to lose the weight. I'm not where I need to be. And then we're in this perpetual loop. So what we begin to do to break out of this war that we're in with ourselves is we observe our thoughts. Here is a quick strategy. I learned a lot of this work from Byron Katie and many years of practicing all kinds of personal development work, and it has my own spin on it. So our very first step, of course, is to question your first thought. You will never change your first thoughts. Your thoughts will always come, but your job is to be the questioner of your thoughts. And Byron Katie taught me this question, is it true? Is it true? So anytime you have thoughts that are coming in, you notice them, number one. Number two is you question it by saying, is it true? Now, I know this sounds so simple, but stick with me on this because this has profoundly changed my life, maybe more than any other thing I've ever done in the holistic personal development and healing space. When we question our thoughts and we ask if it's true, we can start to see, are we using that thought for something just to think and worry about? Are we using those thoughts so we can avoid or be distracted by some things in our lives that might be even more important to us? We often use our thoughts to keep us in the state that matches up with our nervous system. So if we feel unsafe in our body or we feel dysregulated in our body, then there will be a feedback loop that will want our mind to be distracted as well. And so we will be thinking about the things that are causing us stress instead of dropping those thoughts, changing them by questioning those thoughts, and coming back to what is most important to us in our life. So again, we're looking at what are these thoughts and are we using them to avoid and distract? See, it's so much easier to get distracted in someone else's business and avoid our own. One of my mentors told me there's 3 kinds of business. There's your business, their business, and God's business. So if you're over there in someone else's business, you're not taking care of yourself. God's business is also not your business. So you need to decipher whether or not it's yours or if it's God's business. If it's yours, then you can focus on it. Otherwise, why are you giving it your attention? Can you admit that there might be a part of yourself that is afraid to step into the highest version of you, and you keep getting distracted by your thoughts so you can try to control the things that are outside of you? Have you ever been successful at trying to control things that are outside of you? No, I haven't either, by the way, and I've tried so hard. I've tried so hard. We can't control the things that are outside of us. So what we can do, though, is we can remember I can control my second thought. I might not be able to control my first thought that comes in, but I can question it and I can really find out, is it true? And then I can start to change around the thoughts that come after that. So we start paying closer attention to these thoughts. We track them. We become the observer. We act like we are an interviewer and we analyze these thoughts. And now we ask ourselves, which thoughts are bringing me stress? Which thoughts are bringing me peace? And then we start to discern. Discernment's so important. So we practice giving up the thoughts that give us stress. This is easier said than done, but this is the work, my friends. I know this all sounds so simple, and I think it makes some people skeptical because of the simplicity. It's like, okay, the whole build-up, this thing changed your life, but it genuinely, I want you to hear this. I work so hard at paying attention to my thoughts, and I do this all day, every day. This is a practice that we must be consistent at because what we're fighting with, frankly, is our own perfectionism. And I believe that perfectionism is really one of the biggest diseases of our mind. It's a thinking problem. It's an addiction to our thoughts. So as we pay attention to our thoughts, we question those thoughts, we ask, are they really true? We start to figure out that those thoughts are bringing us stress or peace. And then we start to realize that our thoughts are always going to come and we're not going to be able to change them, but we can become experts at observing them and questioning them. And then we can start to take that energy and we can point it into different directions that serve us in a way bigger way. You know what I find interesting is that there's certain individuals who tend to be the most skeptical. They're the one who's always looking for like, what's the catch? What are they trying to sell me? Or there's got to be a conspiracy theory here, or What's this really about? This must be, something bigger. And these people end up finding that they have a much more challenging time grasping what real health and prosperity look like. Now, don't get me wrong, there's always importance to having a healthy level of a bit of skepticism. Not everything we see is true, of course, in this world. But if we are someone who's not open in this area, we block ourselves off from being able to receive the things that we really would love to have because our mind is in perfectionism. If our mind is in this, I need to protect myself from being wrong or making a mistake, or I don't want to make the wrong decision, or if our mind is in this place of like, that can't be right, everyone's conspiracy theorists, everyone is skeptical, and I need to be too. If we're in this hard kind of way of thinking, very rigid thinking, then what we end up doing is we stay in this belief. This undercurrent of a belief is that I need to be right. And that belief, by the way, has plagued me for most of my life. It's the limiting belief I've done the most work around. So if we need to be right, then we're protecting our ego. We're protecting this self, this lower self that can't question, that can't be in a practice of looking at their thoughts and really discerning, is this working for me? Questioning our thoughts and saying, is this even true? Sometimes we need to take some risks. We need to do things differently. And sometimes those first thoughts that have been telling us things over and over have actually been our biggest demise, but we have been so used to rigidly hanging on to being right that we can't look at them. Take the leap of faith and stop believing every single thing you think. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me in the algorithm. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And I put out a video every single week. So to be the first to hear, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you can hear when the videos are out. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.